Cannabinoids and God. Archaeologists have identified traces of burnt cannabis used in the ritual practices of the Kingdom of Judah. This new research published in the journal Tel Aviv suggests the mind-altering substance may have been widely used in the ritual practices related to the temples and shrines used to worship the God of Israel and other gods of the Canaanite pantheon. It seems likely that cannabis was used as a deliberate psychoactive, to stimulate ecstasy as part of cultic ceremonies. Roughly 35 miles or 56 kilometers south of Jerusalem, in an archaeological site in the Negev desert known as Tel Arad, archaeologists excavating an ancient Jewish shrine have found traces of burnt cannabis and frankincense on a pair of limestone altars. The stone altars were found at the entrance of the shrine's inner sanctum, known as the Holy of Holies, reports CNN. This research is the first evidence that the mind-altering substance was part of the religious life in the ancient Kingdom of Judah. Cannabis was burned along with other plants, like frankincense, in the Holy of Holies. The new research applied modern chemical analysis techniques to the residues on each of the two altars. The smaller of the two altars was found to have a mixture of animal dung and cannabis that contained sufficient THC, the psychoactive compound in cannabis, to get those breathing in its fumes high, according to Science News. Unidentified dark material preserved on the upper surfaces of the limestone's altars was submitted for organic residue analysis at two unrelated laboratories that used similar established extraction methods. On the smaller altar, residues of cannabinoids were detected, suggesting that cannabis had been burnt on it. Also, organic residues attributed to animal dung were also found, suggesting that the cannabis resin had been mixed with dung to enable mild heating. Additionally, animal fat was also detected in the residues. The presence of the animal fat suggests that the cannabis was mixed with it to facilitate evaporation. The residue on the larger altar was composed of animal fats and frankincense, the dried sap of trees in the Boswellia species, according to the paper. The researchers write that the dung and animal fats were used to burn the cannabis and frankincense at temperatures that would release their respective mind-altering and fragrant smoke. The chemical analysis conducted by researchers helps provide a window into the rituals and spiritual life of Judah. The temple in Tel Arad was built according to the plan of the tabernacle described in the Bible, and consisted of three parts: the inner courtyard, the temple, and the Holy of Holies. That temple at Tel Arad bears a close physical resemblance to the first temple. It is contemporaneous with the first Jewish temple in Jerusalem. This suggests similar ritual practices may have taken place at the biblical house of worship, according to the lead author of the research and archaeologist with the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, Aaron Ari. He said the discovery was revolutionary, as it was the earliest evidence of cannabis use in the ancient Near East and the first time we see psychoactive substances in the Kingdom of Judah religion. What they were burning in this temple of worship to Yahweh might have been getting them high, or at least could have had some degree of psychoactive effect on them. It shows the potential incorporation of altered states of consciousness to worship. This new research suggests the mind-altering substance may have been widely used in the ritual practices of the Kingdom of Judah. The researchers published their findings in the academic journal, Tel Aviv, Journal of the Institute of Archaeology of Tel Aviv University. Cannabis and the Bible. The word cannabis appears in the Bible, but is not generally recognized because the words cannabis do not appear in English or other translations. Cannabis is mentioned by name few times in the text of the Hebrew Bible as the word Cana. The word is mistranslated as Cain or calamus. Translators also use the meaningless term aromatic cane. The mistake translating the original Hebrew word was first made in the Septuagint, the translation of the Hebrew Bible into Greek. Septuagint Exodus chapter 30 verse 23. Exodus chapter 30 verse 23 in the New International Version. Take the following fine spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, that is, 250 shekels, of fragrant cinnamon, 250 shekels of fragrant calamus. That way of translating the Hebrew word was transmitted to subsequent translations, according to Edward Dodge, author of the book, A History of the Goddess, From the Ice Age to the Bible. Also, according to anthropologist Sula Benet in her publication, Tracing One Word Through Different Languages, affirms the following. After comparing the words meaning hemp in Indo-European, Finnish, Turkish, Semitic language, Sanskrit, Slav, Assyrian, Babylonia and Greek, the words meaning hemp have a common root, can. Looking at the original text of the Old Testament and its Aramaic translation, the word Cain, or keen, sometimes linked to the adjective basm, in Hebrew, or busma, in Aramaic, which means odorous, smelling good, aromatic. As I demonstrate in this study, the biblical Cain basm and the Aramaic keen busma both mean hemp. Regardless of all the debates concerning the Hebrew word Cana, this discovery finally confirms her theory. Indeed, cannabis was part of the religious ceremonies related to the God of the Bible. Cain, calamus, and aromatic cane suits quite well the theological position of religious translators of the Bible that cannot accept the idea of the usage of cannabis in relation to the worship of the God of the Bible. In all instances where Cana is mentioned, cannabis fits the context while calamus or aromatic cane does not. Conclusion. Thanks to all the modern archaeological discoveries, all the studies and biblical research of our time and the hard work of many scholars, academics, and experts, we today can understand many of the things that were unknown or not understood in the past. We can now perceive that the Bible is another collection of writings related to certain epochs, people and societies of the past. Nevertheless, the Bible, along with other sacred books, continues to be intensely forced into the life of billions of humans. It is a collection of myths and theological philosophies that, sadly, continue to be mistranslated and renegotiated to make them palatable to the people and society of our day. The whole religious machinery, with its sacred books and its translators, preachers and manipulators, continues to slave the majority of humans that, apparently, cannot enjoy life without religion. Even worse, it seems like religion today does not need mind-altering substances, like the cannabis used in Bible times, to maintain humans in ecstasy. Armageddon, the end of the world, the apocalypse, the Great Tribulation, the rapture, the resurrection, the celestial kingdom, eternal progression, becoming a god, paradise on earth, paradise in heaven, virgins in heavens, becoming spirits, and the concept of salvation, all seem to be mind-altering modern drugs more powerful than cannabis and much more money-making than the temples of antiquity.